The use of tasers by police has come under intense scrutiny after a series of incidents across Australia. Tomorrow, 2 inquests into cases involving the use of tasers will wind up. In Sydney, the New South Wales coroner will release findings into the death of Brazilian student Roberto Laudisio Curti. And in Brisbane, the Deputy Coroner will report on the case of Antonio Galliano, who died shortly after being repeatedly tasered by police in North Queensland. Meanwhile, yet another case has come to light. 7:30 has obtained footage of a 14-year-old boy being tasered by police. Tracy Bowden reports.
His treatment is akin to torture. No one deserves to be treated like that.
Solicitor Kevin Henshaw says this taser cam footage shows one of the worst cases of police brutality he's seen in his long career. The boy who's being tasered is 14 years old.
You going to be all right? Watching the child's crying and screams, and the fact that the police weren't really concerned. That was the most distressing part of this incident.
It was the end of another classic summer's day at Crescent Head, an idyllic holiday spot tucked away on the New South Wales mid-north coast. But this region has big social problems, fuelled by the toxic mix of youth, alcohol and drugs amongst a high Indigenous population. It's the world this boy grew up in. Those who know him tell 7:30 this young man was up against it from the start. He was destined to end up in trouble. His mother died when he was just 7 years old, and since then he's been raised by a variety of relatives with little stability and no strong role models. As one person put it, this boy grew up in a dysfunctional community, awash with alcohol.
Yeah, he very, very angry with society, angry with me, myself, his dad, the police force. But I know deep down in his heart, there's a good kid. There's a great warrior just waiting to come out. He's got 100 acres.
The boy's grandmother, who can't be identified because of her grandson's age, lives at an Aboriginal mission inland from Kempsey. She wishes he'd spent more time here. Why do you think he started getting in trouble?
Ooh, jinga. Peer pressure, following the crowd.
Sometimes he would stay in a different household every night. It wouldn't surprise me if he hasn't slept under the bridge, which is where some homeless young people in Kempsey stay. For a couple of years there, our school was the only place where he could stabilise. But then, of course, you get the weekends and you get the holidays when all of that comes undone again.
That day, the boy was on day release from a rehab clinic. Early evening, he was in this street in Crescent Head with a couple of mates. They'd been drinking and confronted a man at a party in one of the houses. They then tried to fight other partygoers and the police were called. The boys fled and police caught up with them near the beach. 2 of them were detained, but the 14-year-old ran into the caravan park.
The young person was hiding under a caravan. The police approached him and told him to get out from under the caravan. The second words the police uttered were threats to capsicum spray him.
Police went ahead and sprayed him with capsicum or OC spray, then dragged him out from under the van. According to Senior Constable Matthew Phillips,
due to the violent nature of the young person, I decided to deploy my taser as the situation was deteriorating, and I felt this was the most appropriate tactical option.
That's what I taser me, please. Don't taser me, please. You're going to comply? No, I'm not going to comply.
We had a young person who was struggling with the police, struggling with big police. He didn't pose a physical threat to them. And in fact, on the second time he was tasered, he was on his knees, crouching.
I can't see. I can't see that. I'm going to die back. No, you're not. Matt, help me, please, Matt, please help me, Matt. Matt, fill up. I'm going to die.
The footage documents the next 15 minutes as the youth struggles to breathe and begs for help.
Matt, I want to be my mum, Matt, I want to be my mum. I don't know.
The thing that stuck greatest in my mind was the child crying out for his deceased mother. That shows how traumatised the child was.
You can breathe, don't be ridiculous. Get a bucket of water or something, maybe.
By now, the boy was handcuffed and not resisting, but police continued to threaten him with tasering.
See here. Pick up the language and I'll zap you again. Understood? So shut your mouth. If you swear once more, I'm going to light you up again. Understand? You're not getting the message, are you?
The probes from the taser were not removed from the boy's back for almost 30 minutes. He was then taken to Kempsey Police Station where he was checked by ambulance officers. What do you think should have happened to the police who tasered him?
They should be answerable. Answerable to why they don't. Because they already sprayed him and then they tasered him. They could have held him down and handcuffed him the way they do it on television.
It has made an angry young boy even angrier. And he's a child who comes from a background where he's been exposed to violence. And in many respects, it's building a hatred for the police, towards the police.
Kevin Henshaw complained to the New South Wales Ombudsman about the treatment of his young client. The case was one of those looked at in the report into how tasers are used by the state's police. Under a heading Deficient Complaint Investigations by the New South Wales Police Force, it says,
"We were not satisfied that police officers had reasonable grounds for multiple use of a taser on a juvenile during his arrest, and disagreed with the finding that the actions of police complied with the taser standard operating procedures."
Police thought the young person's treatment was within the guidelines. And this is one of my concerns, the police investigating the police and the police taking no action for obvious abuses of police powers and police instructions.
New South Wales Police would not agree to an interview about the incident, but provided 7:30 with a statement which says,
"Police were forced to use a taser after trying unsuccessfully to physically restrain and arrest the offender."
I'm only 40 years old, so the fucking taser was crazy and everything.
the young boy, who's now in juvenile detention in Grafton, is planning to take civil action against the state of New South Wales for unlawful arrest and assault.
The need to taser twice and spray him twice, it's hard to see how that could have been warranted.
Oh, take a flash! Mommy! You can breathe. I can't stop. Please stop breathing. You're doing a pretty good job explaining.
Tracy Bowden reporting.